Guys, I think it's time for me and my account to try a new strategy with shards. I think this is it. I think it's time to stop being impulsive and chasing champions when the math just doesn't add up in our favor. With that being said, I'm very enticed by an event I'm going to go over in today's video, and I'm going to give it one last hurrah, allow myself one last, very feeble, mathematically speaking, chance at pulling one of the Alice in Wonderland event champions. That's going to be on a 10 times. We're going to talk about that in a sec. But in general, guys, I think that I've gotten some decent pulls for sure on the account. But as I think about it more, I keep kind of being slightly envious of people that are able to stockpile shards because of the fact that they're able to, A, have the willpower to withstand some of these enticing events. Because right know what they're doing, right? They pull us in on these things. Like even right now, I pulled the couple voids that I had for a chance at Senna, but the thing is, like with the math, you literally just have such a small chance. Times 25 looks amazing, and that's obviously if you pulled a legendary from that shard type already, and these progressive chance events almost never are at the same time that they boost a chance of you getting a legendary. So you have a real small chance at a legendary unless you hit Mercy. Unless you have a fuck ton of shards, you're not going to hit Mercy twice. So it's just like a really low chance. But visually, and you see that champion that you know would be game changing on your account, and you want to go for it. And I'm thinking, guys, it might just be better to go with the math, right? Like if you have enough shards stockpiled in the future, then you look at progressive chance events and you say, okay, I'm about at Mercy. This is a really good champ, not just an enticing or a cool or a unique champ or a new champ, but a game changing account changing champ for me, and I have stockpiled shards, so then maybe it makes sense, right? But I'm not a whale. I'm not going to be able to just go, oh, great champion, would be one of the best champions on the account the second she was pulled, so let me just whale out and just force the event to happen, right? Like spend until I get her. I can't do that. So we're going to change things up, like I mentioned. Real quick, guys, before I talk about the event coming up, at the time of filming, it'll be tomorrow, but I might release this on the day that the event is live. I want to mention a resource that I have real quick for you guys. If you are considering starting a raid account, whether you're a new player and haven't played before or you're just bored, there is a link for multiple free champions in the description box below. All you have to do is use a computer. It won't work on a phone. Have Plarium Play signed out. Click the link, register, click the download, boom, throws you in the tutorial. And as soon as you're out of the tutorial, you get one of the champions right away, and the rest as you progress through the game. It's not going to take a lot to get to those champions for sure. And this link is going to give you a much easier time in the early game grind. With that being said, let's talk about the events that are going on today. So, not today, depending on when you watch it. The events that are coming up for me at the time of filming this tomorrow, but the date that this is going live is February 20th. That was a really roundabout way of saying that. The damn event's on February 20th, guys. So the first event is going to be a guaranteed champion. Unfortunately, I say unfortunately, but I was hoping that it would be somebody, even though I have no freaking shards, to pull for it. I was kind of hoping it would be someone from the Alice in Wonderland event. It is not. It's actually for an epic champion, Enda Moonbeam. Okay, so Enda Moonbeam is a Sylvan Watcher, Spirit Affinity epic. I would be interested to pull this champion if I didn't already have a copy of them. As it is, I have nowhere close to 40 ancient shards, so I probably will not pull because I'd have to like gem shards and then buy some, and I just don't think it's worth it for a duplicate copy. This champion is valuable, and in this event, more than likely, because it is a part of the Mikage fusion. Real quick, just to give you a visual, the Mikage fusion is a permanent fusion, but a one-time fusion. You can only fuse her once. And if you see right here, here's in the Moonbeam. I don't think it's going to let me like click to go back to the champion index, but that's why they're doing a guarantee for that champion. One upside to this particular event is that if you're pulling upwards of 40 ancients, you'll be pulling it during the champion chase for the Esme Fragment Collector fusion. So that's at least efficiency, right? But one note real quick is that the event only lasts a day. It actually says it lasts 23 hours on the announcement. I'll show you the announcement right here because it's not on anything in game yet, but this is the Raid Shadow Legends Reddit post. And right here, you got all the information. Summoning while the event is active, buy your 40th shard, Enda Moonbeam is guaranteed. If you summon Enda Moonbeam before your 40th Ancient Shard, the event ends. I don't know why you'd keep pulling anyway, because that's the only point to be pulling. There's no event for Ancients. It's just a guaranteed for Enda. But 23 hours, and then the next day, and this is the event that I'm going to probably let myself YOLO my 1 or 2 Sacreds for. On Friday, February 21st, they're doing 2 events. They're going to do a 2 times 4 legendaries, so a 2 times chance to pull a legendary on a Sacred Shard. That takes the chance from 8% if you're not at Mercy to 16%, which is about as good as, not about, that is as good as you can get in the game when you're not climbing up through the Sacred Mercy. That's a different thing. And then at the same time, and this is why I want to pull, even though the math is against me, I'm going to give myself, like I said, that last hurrah. We have a 10 times event to pull the Cheshire Cat from Sacred Shards. The Cheshire Cat 10 times is going to end one day sooner than the 2 times. So the 2 times, it actually doesn't say how long that's going to go. So I assume that it probably goes 3 days or something like that. And, over the weekend. And then the Cheshire will probably go 2 days. But don't quote me on that because it doesn't say that here. So if we go back, Enda Moonbeam is for people who maybe, the ideal person to pull for Enda is the person that this is the last epic that they need. And then boom, they can fuse Mikage because Mikage is amazing. Otherwise, maybe if you're like me, I kind of considered, except like I said, I don't have 40 ancient shards, getting a duplicate copy so that I could hopefully keep one. This is Tatsu, I believe. Yeah, Tatsu. But I think I'm just going to let that go right now because I'm missing multiple other epics. So I may pull another Enda or whatever, or even pull a Tatsu. It's possible before getting everything else ready. So for me, I'm not pressed about this guaranteed. Probably even if I had 40 ancient shards, but I don't. So Mikage is an amazing mythical, one of the best mythicals in the entire game. So that's definitely a good impetus to pull for this event. If you need Enda to finish the fusion, I would highly recommend doing it. And if you happen to also need some of the champion chase fragments for the Esme Fragment Collector fusion, that is a mouthful, then it's a really good time for you because you were probably going to be pulling shards anyway. You get to see how much mileage you get out of up to 40 ancients, see how many points that gets you, and you may be able to call it at that point. And then you end up with a guaranteed Enda as well. Cheshire Cat, guys, I'm going to go to Cheshire Cat real quick because Cheshire Cat, and this is part of why I can't make myself go, you know what, let me just actually start now. Let me start stockpiling shards. I was like, no, I'm going to pull, if I have 1 or 2 sacreds or whatever, I'm going to pull him just for a chance because he's so good. Guys, to start out with, it's fairly rare to get an attack champion with the speed aura. 19% all battles. Just awesome. This guy is insane. So he's one of very few champions, maybe as few as 4 or 5 in the game. It might not even be 5. It might be 3 or 4 that scale damage off attack and speed. So you guys have probably seen attack and HP. I don't think there's many combinations, but attack and speed is one of them. There's a very few champions in the game that do attack and defense. Fellhound is a rare void campaign farming champion that's very good for that role that actually has that multiplier. But attack and speed is on champions like Cheshire Cat, I believe. Who's the mythical? Damn it, he's in the same faction. Carnage from Curse City. Isn't he the same? No, attack and accuracy. Okay, so I'm sorry. Take that back. Cheshire Cat, yes. Razzlevarg, the bunny damage dealer from Skinwalkers, who also has a speed aura, but like I said, very few champs. Okay, so this guy, look at this kit. Attacks an enemy. If he's under Veil or Perfect Veil, attacks all enemies instead, so it turns it into an AoE. Places Perfect Veil for a turn. So even if he just hits the 1, he's going to give himself Perfect Veil on this skill. But wait, there's more. He does not only give himself Perfect Veil on this skill. 30% damage increase from books. This guy hits, by the way. He hits. A2 is attacks one enemy 3 times. Each hit decreases the enemy speed by 1%, max 10%. This effect does not work against bosses. Each hit will also increase Cheshire Cat's speed by 1%, stacks to 10. If this skill kills an enemy, puts Perfect Veil on the champion and the ally with the lowest turn meter for 2 turns. So killing an enemy with this skill, which books to a 3-turn cooldown, will give him 2 turns of Perfect Veil. He's doing Perfect Veil on 2 of his skills now, okay? Based on attack and speed. And this, with this being a 3-hitter and this part where it stacks his speed not being an overall passive but being just on this skill, by the beginning of his 4th turn, right? So he'll do 3 turns and he needs 1 more hit to be at 10% speed increase over the rest of the round, or in places like Arena, the rest of the battle, or Hydra, right, where there's 1 round. Then look at this A3, guys. Attacks all enemies before attacking, puts Perfect Veil and increased attack on himself for 2 turns. So he's self-buffing. That's amazing for a damage dealer. He puts Perfect Veil, which enables his A1 to be an AoE, and just in general helps damage dealers because it makes them untargetable by single target and take less damage if they're hit by an AoE. Grants an extra turn if he killed an enemy, and he's attacking everyone. So currently, as long as this A1 is triggered by the Perfect Veil, he has 2 AoEs in his kit and then a triple hitter that boosts his own speed. This one also attack and speed. Amazing skill. Books to a 4-turn cooldown, low books to book that skill out. Passive. He's not done yet. Shadow Smile. Passive effect meaning this happens all the time, if this champion is under Veil or Perfect Veil buff, turn meter fill effects are 30% more effective. Also, if this champion is under Veil or Perfect Veil, this champion's attacks will ignore 15% of the target's defense and inflict 15% more damage. So it's like, basically he's getting the equivalent of a free little weaken, the 15% weaken, smaller weaken debuff with the 15% more damage, and he's ignoring 15%. Like a savage set or a lethal set, y'all, and I know that there's like these variable sets now. If you've watched my videos, I'm behind on those. I'm trying hard to farm those up. But back in the day, right, like lethal was the best thing before they started releasing all these other sets. 15%, a savage or a lethal set is 25%. So this is a huge boost to ignoring defense on a target. That's insane. And this is if he's under Veil Perfect Veil, which he does on every single skill. Active effect, meaning that this can only happen every 3 turns, because you see you can't book this one up and it has the 3-turn cooldown. So the active effect, you always look at the cooldown to see how often this can happen. Whenever this champion is about to receive a hit that would drop their HP below 20%, so not even necessarily a fatal hit, for whatever that's worth, blocks the incoming damage so he doesn't take damage, and places a block damage in a Perfect Veil for a turn. He just gets Perfect Veil all over the place. Like this guy is crazy. He moves very quickly, obviously. If you put him with an increased speed champion, he's going to do more damage and go more often, and like the boosting and self-buffing and the passive effects on this guy are nuts. So I'm definitely going to pull whatever I have for him, even though, like I said, the math is very much against me. But with that, guys, tell me in the comments below if you're going to go for this event, if you already knew about it or if you're finding out about it from this video, and tell me what you think about stockpiling shards versus just YOLOing and kind of playing the game for fun. That's enough of that, guys. Catch y'all in the next video.